Welcome to Quick Picks Prediction with Just Facts Combat, direct and fact-based. Veronica Hardy faces Eduarda Moura in the first fight. I predict Hardy will win by decision. Although Moura is a skilled grappler, she may struggle against larger flyweight opponents. Her previous success came from dominating smaller competitors who couldn't match her grappling. Hardy's improved grappling and takedown defense, thanks to training with her husband, could neutralize Moura's attempts. On the feet, Hardy's strategy to stay close and land strikes will make it tough for Moura to execute her takedowns. Small but strategic changes could limit Moura's shots and scoring, as she'll look to disrupt Hardy's rhythm using disguised takedowns. However, Moura's discomfort in extended striking exchanges and potential cardio limitations as a grappler may hinder her. Facing opponents of this size, her approach may be restrained but effective enough to keep it close. Ultimately, Hardy's superior damage and striking should earn her a decision or TKO victory. Bassil Hafez and Oban Elliott's fight promises a thrilling contest. While Hafez is formidable up close with potential takedowns, Elliott's constant movement could disrupt his rhythm. This might lead Hafez to become reckless and overextend on strikes, allowing Elliott to counter effectively and control the fight against the fence. Elliott could secure a decision win or potentially finish with a well-timed counter. Overall, Elliott's agility and strategic counters make him my pick for victory. Gall has demonstrated growth since his recent setbacks and fought admirably against Hafez. Conversely, Brahimaj has not maintained his initial promise as a contender and now shows significant gaps in his skill set, particularly when facing submission threats, his strongest asset. Gall's striking has improved, which could trouble Brahimaj, and Gall's diverse grappling presents a greater challenge. This match is where Gall's progress and versatile game could prevail over Brahimaj's narrower submission focus. These are the reasons why I am going with Gall to win, and won't be shocked if he finishes Brahimaj. He is on a current 3-fight losing skid and at serious risk of losing his job with the UFC. So his only chance of a new contract is a good showing out and finish, as this is the only thing that can save his career with the UFC. I also feel Brahimaj won't have much of a game plan beyond trying to sub Gall, which Gall will be able to stop too. Jhonata Diniz has underrated hands for a heavyweight. He's fast, a great counter-striker, has good timing and sets up his strikes well, is also patient, especially with hurt opponents. However, Diniz has clear grappling weaknesses, which is where Marcin Tybura presents a tough matchup. On the feet, Diniz likely has the striking edge due to his superior power, as Tybura isn't known for knockout finishes. Most of Tybura's victories come via ground and pound after he gains control on the mat. Diniz tends to fatigue in the later rounds, while Tybura has strong conditioning. Diniz also struggles to get up once taken down, which could be a problem. If Diniz can't finish Tybura early, which is difficult, he may need to fight at a more technical pace to win a decision. But if Tybura gets him to the ground, I see a potential finish. It's a tough call, but I'm leaning toward the more well-rounded fighter, Tybura. Not a confident pick I will bet on personally, but that's my pick. This short-notice fight should be high-paced, as Roberto Romero is known for getting in his opponent's face early, aiming to break them down. Onama is always willing to match that pressure. Onama enters with a full camp, while Romero is stepping in last minute, which could impact his pace. I believe Onama will win, as he can match Romero's intensity, has the power advantage, and should control the grappling. It'll be tough, but I expect Onama to win a close decision, or he finishes Romero. Though this matchup between two seasoned fighters seems close and hard to predict, I still lean towards Damon Jackson to win, albeit with caution. Jim Miller remains a dangerous opponent with the skills needed to challenge Jackson. However, Jackson's relentless pace might trouble Miller, who prefers a more technical striking rhythm where he excels. Additionally, Jackson's energy and strength, compared to Miller who is now over 40, could prove decisive as the fight progresses. Miller has a few big bouts left in him, if even that. Miller can control Jackson in clinches and manage top control if it goes there, but he's become more reliant on striking recently. This might be a problem against Jackson since Miller won't initiate takedowns even if losing on the feet, though he can land counters. Miller can control Jackson in clinches and manage top control if it goes there, but he's become more reliant on striking recently. This might be a problem against Jackson since Miller won't initiate takedowns even if losing on the feet, though he can land counters. This is why I believe Damon Jackson will win a close but clear decision against Miller in a thrilling MMA fight, but a Miller TKO or decision win wouldn't shock me either. It's too close to confidently call a winner, but that's my pick. Chris Weidman faces a tough challenge after questionable previous tactics. Anders should be riding a 3-fight win streak, having been controversially denied a win over Berrialt. This may push Anders to avoid leaving outcomes to the judges when facing another local favorite. Given Weidman's unimpressive last performance, Anders could find this his best opportunity to secure the elusive finish. Strategic leg kicks might pave the way for a decisive victory, especially since grappling could further exploit Weidman's weakened state. Anders has all the tools to defeat an aging Weidman, who battles injuries before every fight. Anders is expected to win by TKO or unanimous decision, potentially marking Weidman's retirement. At 40 and with a compromised leg, Weidman is unlikely to regain strength or improve. If Anders follows his game plan, given his form and experience, victory should be straightforward. This fight promises an intriguing blend of styles. McGhee seems to have the edge due to his versatile MMA skill set, compared to Martinez, whose strengths lie more in kickboxing. Martinez, reminiscent of a less well-rounded Yair Rodriguez, can struggle when pressured and space for kicks is limited, as shown against Aldo. This matchup is defined by similar styles clashing. Ruffy, using a karate stance with a bounce akin to Conor McGregor, versus Lontop, who is more flat-footed and aggressive. Both are counter-strikers, but Lontop pressures forward more to draw attacks for counters. Lontop struggles with grappling and fighting backwards, unlike Ruffy, who stays poised for counters but won't throw until provoked. While both have defensive flaws, Ruffy's cleaner strikes and power edges Lontop's inside aggression, predicting a Ruffy victory. I believe Ruffy hits harder than Lontop, even though Lontop is tough and has solid pop in his strikes. The power difference will be key, as Lontop will likely give Ruffy chances to counter. While Lontop may land some shots and test Ruffy, I think Ruffy will win a decision due to the clear damage difference. There's also potential for a TKO if Ruffy lands a big shot while Lontop dips his head when striking, since he often makes this mistake, especially when he's comfortable. Vivian Araújo has strong striking, good boxing, and is a dangerous grappler, but Karine Silva can match much of this. Silva is younger, with a style that could give Araújo problems, as Araújo is a flat-footed boxer who struggles against opponents who move. I expect a competitive boxing match with occasional grappling exchanges. Silva's movement will help her avoid Araújo's heavy shots, and while Araújo is dangerous, her cardio isn't great. I see Silva winning by unanimous decision. This fight is another step in Bo Nickal's development, as the promotion continues to build him up with easier matchups. While I do think Nickal will eventually lose, I don't believe Paul Craig will beat him. Nickal's striking is still very raw, and his wrestling doesn't always translate well to MMA. Craig's striking is equally flawed, especially his defense. His jab is inconsistent, and his chin is often exposed with low hands, as he's always looking to grapple, even in striking exchanges. Not to mention, Craig's chin is looking increasingly fragile at this point in his career. While he's a solid test for Nickal, this is still a very winnable fight for him. Craig's wrestling is weak, like many BJJ specialists, so even if he manages to take Nickal down, it's unlikely he can implement his jiu-jitsu effectively. For these reasons, I'm picking an improved Bo Nickal to win, and I think a finish is highly likely, whether by knockout or submission. I see Nickal getting it done. We can all agree this is the true main event of the card, as the co-main often outshines the actual main event in many UFC cards. My pick for this fight is Charles Oliveira to beat Michael Chandler again, and potentially finish him once more. However, I'm not as confident in Charles's victory as others might be. While Chandler has been out for over 2 years and is nearly 40, he's well rested and fully prepared for this fight, which makes it more competitive than some might expect. We saw how well Chandler performed against Dustin Poirier for most of their fight, winning 2 out of the first 3 rounds, 20-18 on the scorecards. Had he fought smarter in the final 5 minutes and avoided getting finished, he likely would have won by decision. If Chandler can show that same controlled, measured approach, even for just 1 round, I believe he has a real chance of knocking out Charles Oliveira, just like he almost did in their first fight. Oliveira's defense is suspect, and Chandler can land at will if he stays composed in the pocket. Yes, Chandler struggles with cardio in the later rounds, but I don't think this fight will last that long. If it does, it will likely be a battle of survival, with both fighters potentially close to being finished at some point. Chandler could mix in his wrestling to help manage his cardio, rather than going all out for a finish, which was a big mistake in their first fight. He followed Charles to the ground when he should have allowed the ref to stand them up. But Chandler is often reckless and fights with low fight IQ, which has been a flaw throughout his career, and I don't see that changing here. Given this, I think Charles Oliveira will finish him again, and we may not even see Charles in any real danger before it happens. So, Charles is my pick for this one. Now we have the biggest heavyweight fight no one asked for, the best MMA fighter ever versus the best heavyweight ever, both facing off as older men. If this fight happened in their primes, it would arguably be the biggest matchup the UFC could make, even surpassing Jones versus Ngannou in terms of hype. That said, there are still some unknowns that could make this fight more interesting than we expect. First, we don't know what Stipe Miocic will look like. If Stipe is still capable of competing at a high level, we could see Jon Jones try to finish him on the ground quickly, possibly with ground and pound. I trust Stipe's submission defense will hold up well enough to make it tough for Jones to secure an early finish, but as we saw in Ngannou's last fight, a heavyweight ground and pound finish doesn't require much. Jones could trap Stipe on the ground and finish him that way. However, if Stipe's takedown defense and overall game hold up, we could be in for a real fight. Jones' striking has always been fluid, but at heavyweight, he's slower and bulkier, which compromises his style. Stipe has the power to crack him, and if they trade for extended periods, he could very well catch Jones and finish him. This fight has a lot of potential to surprise us. I do think Jon Jones' grappling and ground game will still be a major factor at heavyweight, and we could see him outwork an older Stipe Miocic and eventually finish him on the ground. Stipe will struggle with Jones' reach, which could force him to fight more aggressively or slower due to the constant takedown threat, and that will favor Jones. Additionally, I expect Jones to grapple more than DC did, knowing that if he can get Stipe on his back, he'll be able to control him and potentially finish him there. This is why I think Jones has the tools to wear Stipe down and get a finish, whether through ground and pound or a submission. With that being said, I'm picking the GOAT, Jon Jones, to either finish Stipe or win by unanimous decision and retire on top. If Jones makes any mistakes, though, Stipe could be the one to pull off the massive upset and finally hand him a loss. What a way that would be to end in such a GOAT career like Jones's. The pressure will be all on Jones, as Stipe is the underdog here, and that adds an interesting dynamic to the fight. Overall, I still believe Jones will reign supreme, but this fight might be more competitive than we expect. If you disagree, let me know why in the comments. Thanks for tuning in, and may the winning train keep rolling.